live.
Hello, good evening, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am Temi, and this is Annotated on the Pulse. And as always, I would like to explain to you the exciting thing about The Pulse. The Pulse is a channel here where we have loads of exciting things going on. We have Annotated, as you know, here, and we have a lot of other hosts who are talking about a lot of other things. We have hosts that speak about football. We have hosts that speak about sex and relationships. We have hosts that speak about politics. So you definitely want to join us here on The Pulse. But today, you're here live with me and a special guest that I can't wait to introduce you to. But like I've been explaining since the beginning of Annotated, we are here because I'm really passionate about reading. I'm really passionate about reading stories by Black and African authors. And I was minding my own business and I heard the government say that people are not reading for pleasure anymore. And this is the year of reading. So I have tried to encourage you all to read by introducing you to some of my favorite stories so far and also some of my favorite authors. And today is no different. And I think I mentioned here that one of my favorite genres of writing are books that have characters that are called Temi, because it's always going to be a good time, a good fun time when there's a character called Temi in there. But today we have something even better, and we have a guest. And the guest's name is Temi as well. So I'm Temi. I'll be Temi S for today. And then we have Temi O. So let me formally introduce Temi for you today. So I've got my notes. I don't want to miss out anything. And we're going to have great conversation. So my guest tonight is British Nigerian author and neuroscience graduate whose works sit at the intersection of science and the human condition. Her debut novel, Do You Dream of Terror 2, won the Alex Award and was an NPR Best Book of 2020. She has written for Marvel, Doctor Who, and Netflix. Castavellina Noctrum. I have no idea what that is. Castlevania? Okay, we'll talk about that. And then her new novel, Not With a Bang, is out now. And this is the book that we're going to be talking about tonight predominantly. But we will also talk about your other writing because we're excited about that too. So please welcome everybody, Temi O. How are you, Temi?
Hi, yeah, thank you for inviting me onto the podcast.
You are welcome. It's been a pleasure. We've got the book. We'll put it up so that you can see it. But in case it's not up there yet, this is the book here. So this is the book that we're going to be talking about. It came out last week. Mm-hmm. I had the pleasure of reading it, an early copy. And so we're going to talk about that. But just as a... just as an icebreaker, I have a little game for you. I'm going to put it on here. And those of you at home, you can join in. I would love to hear your thoughts. So, actually, maybe before we get into this icebreaker, because it will make sense, can you tell us a little bit about what Not With a Bang is about? Describe it in like 2 or 3 sentences.
So it's an end of the world event that happens on the morning of a family wedding. The father of the family is a doomsday prepper, so he's actually prepared. And not only is he prepared, he's thrilled. He really has been hoping that this end of the world event would happen. But all of his 4 daughters are on different sides of the city, and they need to get back together for survival.
I love that. And you would consider it a sci-fi genre?
Yeah, some people say it's speculative. It's quite lightly science fiction. I would say for people who like books with like a lot of aliens.
Yes. I would say there's not a lot of aliens.
There's a little aliens.
There's a little bit of aliens. Okay. So I was getting in my like sci-fi bag, I guess, and I was playing around with technology and stuff. And so I've got this little icebreaker. I really was trying to share it with everybody, but you can participate. We've got it here. So this is it. A rogue planet has appeared. Scientists give us 72 hours. You have one bag. What are we putting in the bag? All right. So let's begin. So either you have the choice, a mobile phone or water.
Oh, well, definitely water.
Okay. Really? I would like to hear what people...
What use will a phone be? I mean, I'm sure signal isn't going to work in this end of the world scenario.
Really? Okay. All right, cool. Water. All right. Water or a change of clothes?
Water.
Water or photos of loved ones?
Water.
I want to hear people like joining at home.
Every day I'm regularly thinking, am I drinking enough water?
I know, you were like, oh, I need some water. Okay. No, we have to think about this. This is the end of the world settings, right? So water.
It stresses me out getting on a train journey without water.
Water or a torch?
So do I already have the three waters from before, or these are independent scenarios?
Like either or.
Where I won't have water.
You won't have water if you pick the other thing.
I mean, water.
Water or a knife?
Water.
How are you going to kill the zombies with water? That's what I want to know.
But there's a rogue planet. What use will the knife be?
Okay, wait. Water or canned food?
Well, canned food has some water content. Maybe this is like beans with some water in. So
we're going canned food?
I'll cheat this canned food in this scenario.
Canned food or a prayer mat?
Canned food.
Canned food or sanitary products?
Well, I mean, I suppose it depends what time of the month it is. Canned food?
Yeah. Canned food or matches?
I mean, if I'm like in the forest, then maybe matches would be handy because then I could cook food. But if I'm in London, then probably canned food.
I don't know. It's just the end of the world. Which one are you picking?
I'll choose canned food.
Okay, canned food or first aid kit?
I mean, will this rogue planet injure us?
I don't know. We don't know. No one knows what to expect. And then it's just here. And what does your instinct tell you?
Maybe first aid kit.
Okay. First aid kit or your Bible?
I don't know. I don't want to get judged.
No one's going to judge you guys. It's the end of the world.
I'll say Bible.
No way. You should know that in your head already. I'm judging you now. Okay. Oh my gosh. Girl. So that's it. You are surviving this end of the world.
Oh, I am?
With
my
your
canned
Bible.
Food and my Bible
no,
and my
just
water.
your Bible.
Oh, right.
That's not going to help anyone. Oh my gosh. I'm so upset. But this is cool. It says why this wins. Because when everything falls apart, faith is what holds people together.
I agree.
Oh, I like this little game that I built.
Who made this game?
I made the game myself.
Okay, well, I agree.
Using technology, of course. But that's cool. I mean, I think realistically, when you're in situations like that, you never know what you would grab. I was thinking oh yeah, canned food all the time. But then if you didn't have, first of all, canned food is heavy to carry around. And then if you didn't have canned food, maybe you could, you would probably kill a fox or something and eat it.
Also, you can get by quite a while without food. It's water.
Yeah.
That you need.
I learned that from your book, how many days you could live without.
Yeah.
And because I never really get thirsty like that. So I was thinking, I'm sure I've gone like a whole 24 hours without drinking water and I was just fine. But probably because I ate and food probably has
food
water.
has water content in it. And then maybe if you had like a coffee as well. Those kinds of things. Fruit has a lot of water.
No, I just need to drink a lot more water.
I think about water often.
That was good. It's interesting that you feel like people will judge you if you don't if you don't pick the Bible, bro. That Bible.
I know my mum will be.
No, because then
canned food over the Bible.
When you want to set the thing, like you're gonna tear the pages of the Bible to make the to set a fire.
A handy weapon as well.
Oh my gosh, that's so interesting. I think because when I was compiling it and trying to make it, it kept bringing things like water or food, food. And I was like, oh, no, but actually some people might choose to bring like a picture of their loved one or something sentimental. And I think like without spoiling it in your story, there are like instances where it's like, okay, if you have to grab a bag, what are the things that you're putting in that? And some of the things were maybe not things that you would necessarily think are what you would need in a life or death situation. So let's get into a little bit about this story that you've written. But let's take it back a bit, because we've seen here like a pattern in terms of. Okay, wait. First of all, actually, we need to talk about you being a neuroscientist or having a degree in that. Where did that come from? What type of what does that mean in terms of like career and stuff? Because when I'm thinking about it, I'm thinking about like brain surgery and stuff. But is it different?
I feel like this is a conversation that definitely I wish 18-year-old me had with future me, which is I think I imagined that you'd do neuroscience degree and then there's like a route, I don't know, some kind of route that's like neuroscience. Yeah. It's like an actual job where, I don't know, we're like examining people's dreams. It's not really that way. If you want to be a scientist, then you kind of have to keep studying. And I think I wrote my first novel while I was studying. And I think by the time I got to my final year, I was like, I did really enjoy that, but I am actually a writer. So I think I thought about applying for like some masters and PhDs in neuroscience, which would have been the next step. Yeah. I didn't end up taking it.
You ended up being a writer, and then you ended up having a very sort of like specific style of writing, I think, or genre of writing. Where did that come from? It came from the
science fiction that I grew up reading. Like I read a lot of like Ray Bradbury, like Kim Stanley Robinson. I did really love them, but I went through a phase of thinking, oh, well, I've read this whole book and I understand how like the spaceship works and I understand how you build this colony on Mars, but like, how does it feel to leave everyone you love behind? Yeah. Sort of this kind of like, I felt like there was some kind of like internal sort of introspective questions that weren't being answered. Yeah. So pretty often my style is like, I'll think about a scenario that's familiar in fiction, like the end of the world, and then really, really try and examine like the human angle. Like, okay, well, it's the end of the world, but your marriage is ending. Or,
yeah. I loved that when I was doing my research, and I think I can't remember what event it was. It might have been a Dark Matter event, and you were on the panel with is it Caution?
Oh, yeah.
That was like years ago. Yeah, I think Kalechi must have been on that panel as well. And I think there, but I saw it again in a different interview when I was doing my research in preparation for today, that you said, and I think it was for your book, More Perfect, that you said when you had just gotten married and you were watching your husband like drift off to sleep and you were like, oh, I wonder where he's like gone, I wish I could like go there with him. I just would like for you to share that with our audience today, because I thought that was so cute.
This is how I got my idea for More Perfect. Was I was watching my husband fall asleep and I was thinking, like, he's traveling away from me and I can't go where he's going, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna miss you when you're sleeping, which I thought was quite sweet, but he was like, ew. You want to follow me into my dreams? Leave me alone.
That's so sweet.
So that was kind of how I got the idea for there's a pulse in More Perfect. The technology is it allows you to travel into each other's dreams, and I have this couple who kind of fall in love by like seeing each other's memories and finding that they're compatible.
Oh, I love that. I haven't read it yet. I think I do have a copy, but I haven't read it yet because I was like, oh, I don't know how I feel about sci-fi. However, like, I love that idea. I'm like, oh, this sounds like love to me. And I want to read it. And even though I've said that, because I am not like typically a romance kind of girly when it comes to genre and like reading books, but I always read everything like almost as if it is a romance. Like, I'll be like, oh, these two people love each other. And everybody be like, no, that's toxic. And I'll be like, no. So when I heard that, I was like, oh, this sounds like a bit of me.
I think you would probably like More Perfect. Because it's sort of like, I guess their love it's a bit obsessive. Yeah. And they both have kind of traumatic past and they really like fall in with
is it
each
like
other.
trauma bonding? That's not good.
But like, it's sort of like, I was thinking a lot about how, like if you love someone and you hear their stories often enough, like I start to feel like I remember, like it's a memory of mine, like that, like I have memories of my husband's childhood, but it's because he told me so often, that kind of thing. So I was thinking a lot about like marriage and like your identities kind of forming, like bonding, and this technology that like facilitates that.
I love that. Did your husband read the book?
Yeah, he did.
And he was like, oh, this is what you meant when you wanted to come into my dream.
Yeah, I think it's quite interesting. It must be interesting for him because I think he was even saying this about Not With a Bang. He was like, it's hard to focus on the story because like there'll be things that you've said or things that have happened to us or anecdotes we've heard, and like it'll throw me out of the story. Yeah.
Okay, so Not With a Bang. Let's give the audience a little bit of a taster of what this book sounds like, and then we can go in and just like discuss it a little bit. I really don't like having conversations when I know that like the majority of the people haven't read it yet. So we're going to do a spoiler-free conversation, but let's give the audience a bit of...
Read the opening.
Yes, the opening.
I can hear the pages. Is it possible to want something so much that the force of your longing pulls taut the fabric of reality until it bursts? Our father had imagined the end of the world so often that for a while he believed that he'd summoned it. It was a couple of months before we discovered the extent of his prepping. It began the summer before with tin cans and non-perishables, rice, pasta shells, and powdered milk, puce tubs of pickled cabbage. In February, he built a bunker, a utilitarian monstrosity we watched from our kitchen window as it was lowered into the ground. Inside were hastily assembled bunk beds, a compost toilet, medical supplies, ventilators, iodine pills and codeine. We were instructed to participate in drills that could happen at any hour, although usually at the smallest. Tannic taste of adrenaline as the doomsday alarm dredged us from sleep with its urgent mechanical bawling, all the lights off and Dad shouting. We'd fumble blindly for our dressing gowns and jacket, then run. Sometimes our bedroom doors would be locked and we'd have to find another way out. I would climb out of the window and clamber down the trellis, land, bruised and shin-scratched in the shrubs below. Just a few seconds left to sprint down the weed-choked garden path. We were urged to bring something we loved. The first time, I dashed back to get Digit from her dog crate, but it had been empty, and I'd run about the house with a torch, tears in my eyes, calling her name until I saw her retinas flash at the bottom of the garden. Dad had shouted at me for the delay. In the real thing, like us, she would have to run or die. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I love that. I feel like that is like a bit of an intro, but it doesn't even begin to like explain how, like where this story goes. So I love that, and I just wanted to pick up on the fact that in your writing, it's clear that you, like you mentioned earlier, that you explore sort of the familial kind of like dynamics, family dynamics, relationships, and all of those kind of things, as well as this like maybe like paranormal kind of like activity that might be going on. So when you think about that, when you're writing a book like Not With a Bang, did you start off first with like this kind of like doomsday prepping kind of narrative, or was it more centered around the family?
So this one kind of began with an image, because I was reading this book during 2020 called Notes on an Apocalypse, like by Mark O'Connell. And he examined doomsday preppers. And he said preppers aren't preparing for their nightmares, they're preparing for their fantasies. And his analysis was that, like, he was like, they're often like white men who modernity has left behind, and they're sort of hoping that some event will like catapult us back to this kind of pre-industrial world where like a man with a gun who knows how to farm is the one who has like a lot more power. I found that really interesting, that idea of someone who wants the world to end and something that might have happened in his life that would make him want to. And I had this image of this man, Marcus, like my character, standing on a street corner and looking up at the sky, and the birds are falling, and this is the end of the world event, and he's thrilled. Yeah. And then I kind of was like, okay, well, why is he happy? What's his family like? What's happened in his life that's taken him to this point that he really wants this to happen? And that was how I expanded out and like chose the family and his wife and the different crises that they're all in. And they're all in a kind of crisis where we maybe like dramatically felt like, oh, like this is the end of the world for me. Yeah. Almost all of them are at kind of a personal point where they're like, where they feel that way. Like the mum has this diagnosis, and the daughter's joined this doomsday cult, and another daughter sort of like having an affair with someone she shouldn't, and it's been found out. Yeah. And so like just before this event, they've all reached this point where they're like, oh, this is disastrous, I can't see a way out of it, and then this end of the world event happens. I think as well you did really well in terms of bringing in conversations that we might need to have at this time, in terms of like maybe what it looks like to be in a like sort of multiracial, biracial kind of relationship, what that means for like the children who grow up in that kind of relationship, you know, who are the result of that kind of relationship. That doesn't sound nice. Or children who are as a result of that. And so I think that even though this is a book that's like maybe sci-fi, and when we think about sci-fi as a genre, we think aliens maybe, but this is a book that touches on topics such as race, police brutality, and these are conversations that we are having in today's kind of like society every day. So why was it important for you to include those kind of topics in this book? Yeah, I think that felt kind of central to... it's hard to like discuss it without sharing spoilers, but it felt kind of central to the character of Marcus. He's a white man. His wife is Nigerian, and then he has these 4 mixed race daughters. And I think maybe it is because I was writing it after 2020, which is like a time where, in lots of ways, something that was happening like politically, like suddenly felt personal. Yeah, because there was both the pandemic, then there was also like the Black Lives Matter. Yeah, and felt like twice where I'm living in my house, but then the personal choices that I'm making feel more political than they did before. Yeah. So do you know that's so interesting, because you're saying like, oh, you wrote it in 2020. Oh, I was kind of inspired by it in 2020. Okay. I didn't start writing, I think, till 2022. I think. Yeah. But even I feel like it still feels very relevant. I feel like some of the things that were happening, I could turn on the news today and hear similar things in the news. So it sounded very current. And then just in terms of like doomsday, I was explaining to you earlier that I read things and
like when I read fiction, I read it like it's very much real. And when I hear about end of the world, doomsday stuff, to me, that doesn't sound like too far-fetched. It sounds like, oh, okay, yeah, that could happen. And I think we've had times in life, I remember the year 2000, everyone was saying like, oh, the world is going to end. And was it like 2000? I can't remember the exact day. But they were like, oh, the world's going to end. And then we were there waiting for it to end. And I watch a lot of documentaries about people who have built bunkers, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, I need a bunker. I need one of those. So just in terms of that, like, what are some of, like, do you look at these kind of things as conspiracies, like the world coming to an end, or do you see these people as like, you know, like tinfoil hat people?
Oh, that's really interesting. It's hard because, yeah, especially to write a book, you really have to like embody that person. But I'd say on a personal level, like, I'm not even close to a prepper. Like,
really?
I mean, I'm not even prepared for like a rainstorm when I like inclement weather surprises me.
No way.
So, I regularly leave the house with my baby without baby wipes.
Oh, I was about to say, like, after COVID, do you not have stacks of toilet roll? No way.
So, like, my whole personality is just the opposite of a prepper. I for sure will be like one of the first waves of the people who don't survive in this kind of
you
event.
write so much. Like, you do so much research. Like, I feel like you have to be ready.
But
and
I think it made me interested in those kinds of people. I'm interested in them. Not enough to be one.
Really?
Yeah.
So is it that you just think like, oh, it's not realistic, like it's unlikely to happen?
No, it's not even. I think there's just something about like, it feels like a lot of pride to feel like I can have any control over like what's really going to happen to me in the future. This, I wonder, is like, because my husband and I were even talking about this. We were talking about like people who book flights like a year in advance. And we're like, what pride to think that in a year you'll know where you're going to be. That seems crazy to us. But that's like the level of not very organized.
Oh my gosh, are you a last minute
Definitely.
.com person?
I mainly book theatre tickets like the day before.
Oh, no.
And see what's around.
Do you know, I'm a bit like, I will say like, oh, I'm going to go on holiday, and I will have it in my mind that I'm going to do something in X day. It could be like 2 years time, 3 years time. But I'm such a like, leave everything to like, I feel like when I'm under the pressure, that's when I perform best. So I often leave things to the last minute. But I think in my mind, I'm like, no, I need to like, this is happening. And I do think like, I guess it is that kind of thing of like, oh yeah, yes, tomorrow's promised to no one. But then also like, you have to have a little bit of, especially as like a parent, I'm sure you wake up and you're thinking like, oh, the dreams and hopes that you have for your daughters.
I mean, yeah, I like in that sense, like I hope that they'll thrive in the future.
Yeah, and I'm sure you.
But have I bought like enough nappies to last us for next week?
I'm sure you haven't. But then that's so interesting, because I often say about like Kelechi's writing that I feel like, oh, this is like maybe speculative fiction or whatever, but then I'm like, oh, it's like she has some kind of like psychic ability that she knows what's going to happen in the future because some of the things that she mentioned, and I feel like this could be the same.
Oh, I will tell you one thing. So there's like in the beginning of the book, like birds start falling from the sky. Yes. And the character's like, that should have been the first sign to us that like this end of the world event was going to happen, but we didn't notice. When I wrote that scene, we found 5 dead birds in our garden.
Oh my gosh, how comes how? What happened?
I was really stressed out. We never found out.
Oh my gosh, have you like brought, is this book a portal?
I know, it really stressed me out.
You've made these things come to fruition. Oh my goodness. What did you do with them?
Oh, it was quite funny because I was like, I called my mum and my mum was like, this is very serious. And I was like, yeah, like
as a Nigerian mother.
Bird flu? And my mum was like, yes, yeah.
Oh, I mean, bird flu.
No. My mum was like, say these psalms.
Yeah.
Anoint your house 3 times. And I was like, Right. I mean, should I call like the Department of something environment? And she's like, she really didn't care about that. So
Yeah, I was like, bird flu would have
She was
not
like,
been my first.
That's your business.
mean,
Say these psalms, anoint your house.
Like, the village people are really trying something.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Oh my gosh, that's so interesting. But did you think, like, I know you were freaked out by it, but did you think, oh, maybe I can use some more of this content for my next book?
Oh, my husband was like, can you now write a story where we get rich?
Yeah. It's so true. It's so true. And make sure you just have me in there as, like, I don't know, this, like, podcaster who
I'll
just
say
blows
all
up.
the Temis got rich.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We need it. That's so interesting. In the book, we've got Kim, who is the mum. And, we've got some comments here. Someone says, I'm late, but sci-fi is the best genre.
Oh, yay.
Immy Snowglobe, you will definitely want to read Not With a Bang. And actually, you would want to read all of Temio's books because she seems to be a sci-fi junkie, not only just from like what she writes, but also from what she watches. And we can get into a bit of that later. But I want to talk about Kim and the fact that Kim is carrying this secret illness while everyone around her is obsessing about the planet and the sky. How much of that was you exploring how personal crisis doesn't stop just because the world is ending?
Yeah, I guess I was thinking about like lots of ideas about the end of the world. And one of the things I read was, what if... would you rather that you had a fatal illness and you were dying, or that you were dying, or that the world ended? And I think some people are like, obviously it's cruel to say I'd rather the world ended, but I think it's the idea that like some story is continuing without you.
FOMO.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Do you know what? Yeah, it is like, I think these are like valid points because sometimes I think like, it's almost morbid, but I'm like, oh, you know, like one day I'm just not going to be here. They would bury me in the ground. The worms will eat me. I'll just be dust or whatever. And yeah, like everything goes on.
It seems impossible to imagine.
And then I wonder if like God will let me like look down and see what's happening.
I mean, I think so.
Do you think so? But then that freaks me out because then
continue.
I'm like, oh, people who have died, like maybe people in my family or whatever who have passed away already. Sometimes I'd be doing stuff that I do not want them to be looking down and seeing. So that kind of like freaks me out sometimes.
But maybe they have an eternal perspective that makes them really forgiving and understanding.
Yes. Yeah. Or I think that it's like, sometimes just like, it is what it is type of thing. And like, everything is going to happen the way it's meant to happen and the way it's going to happen. So there's no real like getting upset about it if you're like looking down. Like, because you understand that it is just what it is. And I guess that eternal thing of like, maybe they know far this side and they know they can see far that way as well. So they have an understanding of what is happening right here because they've got that perspective. I guess that is beautiful. I wanted to talk about maybe Marcus and that I think like, what kind of research did you do in order to kind of like write this person? Because I think when I read it, I think, oh, he thought about like everything. And then I was thinking like, because he's built this bunker. And then I was thinking, oh no, I live in a flat. I can't even build a bunker. And then I was thinking, oh, are you allowed to build bunkers and stuff like that? Maybe even if you own a house, are you allowed to dig down without anyone knowing that you have this like bunker thing going on? Because
you probably do need planning permission.
Really? But no, I don't think you should ask for it though.
I'm not sure he thought about that. Yeah.
No, but I mean, I feel like you
don't want anyone to know your bunker's
there.
Because
that defeats the purpose.
That's true. It's got to be secret.
But yeah, so what kind of research did you do in terms of like, did you watch some documentaries?
Yeah, there's so much prepper content out there. Because so I kind of began with like prepper handbooks and different survival guides and like bushcraft survival guides. There are a lot of them. And then there was this show where they'd different preppers were contestants and they'd like explain their different setup, and they all had different setups. They'd all be prepping for like some particular kind of end of the world. They'll be like, I know how it's going to happen. It's going to be the superbug, and when it's the superbug, I'm going to live here, and I'll have this. Or they'll be like, it's going to be the solar flare. The solar flare will certainly end us all, and I will be fine because I have this moving. Like, they'd all have different setups, and on this show, they'd rank them, like, in terms of like how
prepared
who is more
they
likely
were
to survive, like when you consider all the different things humans need for survival, that kind of thing. I don't know how they really I had questions about the ranking system, and so did the preppers, who were all like, no, I am 10 out of 10. I don't care that you say I'm 4 out of 10. So that was one. And then one that I listened to for hours and hours and hours. There were like several prepper podcasts, which I thought were actually maybe the most helpful, because podcasts are just like, it's kind of like sitting at a dinner table with someone. And so they just discuss like, well, what do you do? What's the first thing? And obviously we have this. And then also it was interesting to see the different things that were advertised in between the podcast.
Oh, like so what?
There'd be things like, as we well know, the world economy is going to crash and you need to buy gold. But also you can get the subscription box that will give you all of the different nutrients you need in these different bars.
What, whilst the world is ending?
Yeah. There are like a lot of things you could buy, like lots of different subscription boxes, different kinds of knives. I don't know. There's like, it's a lot of stuff to buy. And it was interesting to just hear.
Yeah. I think it's quite interesting. Did it make you have like, what were your thoughts on them before, like that type of character or that type of person? And did writing this character in Marcus, did it give you like a different perspective? Did you have perhaps like more empathy for people like that, or more understanding for someone who the world kind of sees as kind of like a bit Delali?
I don't know. So I feel like I've always actually had quite a lot of sympathy, maybe because I'm so disorganized.
Yeah.
That like someone who can like get it together to not only plan the next 2 years, but also to have like some different eventualities to save their family in the case of like, you know, some kind of apocalypse. I'm quite impressed by. Not enough to do anything to prepare. Yeah. But I'm interested in hearing people's stories. I'm interested in it. I can see how for some people, feeling like you have a plan is the thing that makes you feel like you're in control. Yeah, I guess for me, that's like, I don't feel like I'm in control. So I don't come up with plans in that way. But I had a lot of sympathy. What I did really enjoy was having a character who was very prepared, but still, like, there were certain things that happened that...
like beyond his preparation.
Yeah, like the fact that all of his prep and all of their drills involved them being in the house when the event happened.
Yeah.
And he had basically almost no plan for them not being near the house. So that like immediately scuppered like almost everything.
And then he broke that cardinal rule. I won't say what rule he broke, but then it was just like, why would you say that?
Yeah.
For someone
and he
who
kind of exposes them to danger. Yeah.
I think that that's so interesting. I wanted to talk about your first book, and that being about generation of like dreaming of escape, and like dreaming of escape on the spaceship. And then we have this one, and it's like escaping becomes impossible. Like, so was that an intentional thing of like having like two different kind of scenarios but the same type of longing?
I guess with both of them, there are scenarios that I'm quite familiar with as like a sci-fi viewer and reader.
Yeah.
Like going into space or like this end of the world. But I felt like in all of the versions I'd seen, there was a kind of like psychological realism that I felt like I was missing or that I was looking for. So one of my I remember when I was writing Terra 2, one of the things I'd like read several books set in space, and I was working in a sci-fi bookstore, and I kept like asking the owner for different things I was craving, and he'd suggest some things, and I was like, so I enjoyed like those 2 space books you suggested, but I kind of want a book that's like what it feels like to be in space.
Yeah.
And he and like his colleague were really like I think there are a lot more books now, maybe because like other people were feeling this way. But that's definitely like one of my ambitions in my writing is to look at something that seems familiar and then examine how it feels to be in it.
I love that. And then I was gonna ask, in terms of like writing, would you ever see yourself writing like contemporary, historical fiction?
Yeah, you did ask me
I
this
did ask you,
earlier.
yeah.
And I was saying, I don't want to say never. I really don't want to limit myself. But pretty often when people have like pitched ideas to me, I always like try to find ways to make them magical. Like, yeah, I had one person who was like, would you be interested in writing this historical like show? And I was like, yeah. It's set on an island. Yeah. But like, what if no one can leave the island?
Yeah.
What if there's a malevolent force somehow like dominating the island?
And you said something interesting earlier about finding like science being magic or something. What, like, because when you said it, I was like, oh, that's so interesting. I've never heard, because usually when people say science is very like logical, and then magic is very sort of like impossibilities and stuff like that. So how have you found that the two can coincide?
Yeah, I would say the things that the worlds that I want to create, I want them to feel really familiar, but then something magical happens. And I like the feeling I want the reader to have is that like, oh, magic is close, magic is possible in a way, but like also the ordinary is like sacred and magical. And yeah, for me, my way of like achieving that is through science. Like the magic comes from science.
I love that. And because there were some terms in the book that I was like, I've never heard this before in my life. And I guess that comes from like your science background. Let's talk about like your writing for Marvel and your writing for Doctor Who. How did that come about, and what episodes maybe so that we can go back and like go and watch and know that you had involvement with
yeah, my writing for Marvel and Doctor Who were short stories.
Okay.
Yeah.
So not for TV, but for it's
the wider franchise. Yeah. So I wrote this Marvel short story about, it was for Black Panther, about a girl who grew up in Wakanda but wakes up in London in a hospital. Ooh. And they're like, where are you from? And she's like, Wakanda. And they're like, but it doesn't exist. And she's like, no.
I just came from there.
Yeah. And they're like, yeah. And she's like describing it. And they're like, that sounds lovely, but it doesn't exist. And she's kind of like trying to find a way to get back.
I love this. Wait, I've not seen this. So how can we read this?
Yeah, so it's a Marvel short stories, Black Panther Tales from Wakanda, if you Google that.
Okay, yeah.
And my short story is called Zoya the Deserter.
Ooh. Yeah. I was going to ask, like, does she ever get back? But don't spoil it for us. We'll have to read it to see. And then also, because Imi Snowglobe has said that she loves sci-fi. So what were some of the sci-fi writing that you read like growing up, or that you still read now, to sort of, besides your own work, to like sort of engage your...
Yeah, I grew up in the like age of teen dystopias, which I think I just got... I sometimes wonder if I hadn't read all this sci-fi when I was a teenager, if I would be writing a different genre. But there was like these trilogies by Scott Westerfield, who writes these young adult trilogies that I really enjoyed. And at like the same time, I think there was a radio play of 1984 that was on, and my mum read me the opening page of this book called Fahrenheit 451, which is a sci-fi, well, it's like a sci-fi dystopia by Ray Bradbury about a future where people burn books. Like, no one's allowed to read. You have to burn books. And I still remember like my mum at the kitchen table reading the opening line, which is, "It was a pleasure to burn." Ooh. And it's like about this guy who's a fireman, and firemen set fires.
Wow.
Like, set fires to libraries. So I think I just like read all of those books at like a kind of foundational time, and it made me like pledge my allegiance to science fiction.
That just reminded me, because we've been talking about things that we like to watch and stuff. Did you ever watch, is it Handmaid's Tale?
Oh yeah, I mean,
how do you think?
I do enjoy it. I would say I'm enjoying the Testaments more right now. I think it's maybe a bit lighter. On the thing. I think I might need to start watching. Light? Oh, you don't like heavy? I mean... Handmaid's Tale is particularly
It's dark.
heavy.
It's very heavy, yes.
I would say I sometimes have to like psych myself up to watch it.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, I know what you mean. I feel like there's even in the first, like, it's actually shot dark. Like, it's very like, I thought the brightness on my TV was down, but it's just the whole, like, there's like whole episodes where it's just literally dark as well as like what's happening. But in terms of like the writing, did you ever read the book?
Yeah. And I read the Testaments as well. Yeah.
And you enjoyed it?
Yeah. I did enjoy them. Yeah.
That's good. I think that I need to watch Testaments actually. I think when Handmaid's Tale came to an end, I was like, oh no, I need to know more. And then I was doing some research, and then it said like, oh yeah, this is going to come up. And I think, I don't know if it's a spoiler, but I feel like the daughter is featured a lot in Testament.
Yeah, I mean, this is a spoiler.
Oh.
For the show.
Yes.
Though I've read the book.
Yeah.
And I can't remember exactly, but it becomes clear in the book. But yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it hasn't been revealed in the show yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it like just 8 episodes or?
Yeah.
So and that's it. Like that will be it, or?
I know. I mean,
multiple
the pace
seasons?
it's going, I feel like there's going to be more. It's not finished yet though.
Okay. And so you said about like writing, you started writing this in like 2022, and I think we've kind of like touched on this, but we are living through like real sort of climate anxiety and like conversations of collapse. I mentioned earlier I saw something like earlier about humans swimming in ponds that are meant for like animal reserve and stuff like that, and the fact that, you know, some of the things and actions that we have as humans is affecting the world that we live in. So did you feel like some kind of like pressure to write something that speaks on sort of like how our actions can impact the world, or was it just purely from a sense of enjoyment?
Yeah, I actively avoid anything I feel the pressure to write about. So yeah, it wasn't sort of about like environmental anxiety or anything. And I would say the collapse that happens and not with a bang is not related to human actions at all. It's quite like a freak kind of incident.
That's true. We might have to talk about this, what I was going to ask off air, because I don't want to give any spoilers. But welcome to those of you who are just joining. If you have just joined, we are here with Temi O, my namesake, and we are talking about her book Not With a Bang, which is a sci-fi story set in London, South London, and it's sort of about a dad who is preparing for the world coming to an end, and then some kind of activity happens which is like life-ending-ish, and his family, and the different kind of like dramas that would go on in a family of 4 girls and a mum and dad, an extended family as well, and their friends. It's a whole full like environment that's happening here. So I wanted to ask, when you finish reading or writing, a book like this that has this big, like, you know, catastrophic event that happens, how do you kind of like decompress and take yourself out of that world?
I would say definitely while I was writing it, in the middle, I was really like, oh, how am I going to end this? And I remember reading another book that has like it's quite heavy, but that has a really happy ending. And I was like, it could be happy. I could make it happy. Yeah. And it was just like kind of figuring out how to get there. Because I would say my other two, like More Perfect is an actual like tragic ending. And my first novel is kind of more of an ambiguous ending. So this is the first time I've written a happy ending.
Yeah. And I think like the other 2 books, are they like more YA, would you say? Your other 2 books?
Well, Do You Dream of Terror 2 is on the edge. Like the Alex Award that it won was books for adults that appeal to young adults, which is, I think, like the right description for that novel. Because it's kind of like 18, 19-year-olds. Yeah. But it's paced more like an adult novel. Yeah. Yeah.
Because when I was reading this, I was like, oh, like, You've Met My Son, he's out there today. And I was like, oh, he could read this. It isn't, like, I don't think, and he's 13, about to be 14. And I was thinking, but it's not he's an advanced reader because he has me as a mum. Because I wouldn't say it's for children, but I feel like it's something that, like, maybe if you have a child that likes like this kind of genre, like, I feel like they can read this. I don't think there was too much. There wasn't like sauciness in it. No, I don't think.
But there is a childbirth in it, and it's not that I think that that's bad for teens, but how interested are teens? I don't know.
I feel like it was good because I also feel like even that scene was quite like educational, I think, and informative. So and I love that, like, now speaking to you, like, I love how I can see that you have like put snippets of science all like within the book. So even like the giving birth scene, I feel like, oh, this is like a lesson. Like,
yeah,
hey,
I tried to. I have like snippets of some of the most awe-inspiring facts I've like come across.
I love that.
Yeah, about the female body.
So I think, what would you like? I think your children are too young now to read this, or would you read out loud to them this type of book?
My daughter's 3. If it rhymes, she'll enjoy that.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. I often think, like, sometimes, like, I'm just like, oh, you know, like when they say, like, when you have a baby in the womb, and if you listen to like classical music and stuff, like, that's quite good for them. I often think, like, oh, it would be so good to like read to them like the classics and stuff like that. Like, they would just come out so, like, just so, like, they'll come out like geniuses because they've been exposed to something fantastic. And I think your writing could fit into that.
Oh, well, thank you.
Into that. I wanted to say also that in terms of this being the year of reading, I do ask all of our authors or publishers, writers, or whoever that come in to donate books to our Blacklisted library. Sorry, I'm saying Blacklisted. It's not our Blacklisted library. It's our annotated new Black library. And you have donated 2 books, which I have here. So let's talk about this one first and tell us why you donated this one. This one's called The Ministry for the Future by Kim Stanley Robinson.
Yeah, I was trying to... Kim Stanley Robinson is a sci-fi author I really love. I read him... I think I first read his Red Mars trilogy when I was a teenager, and I remember, like, it kind of like radicalized me, like, politically, because they begin with it's these astronauts going to Mars, and they're thinking, okay, we can make a whole new society. How can we make it? And one of them's like, well, obviously capitalism, we should do it that way. And the other one's like, but doesn't socialism make the most sense? And I think that sort of like, I felt like it was one of like the best uses of sci-fi where you're saying, like, if we can imagine a world from scratch, how would we do it? And yeah, The Ministry of the Future is like another one. Like
I love that. And you said it is a fictional story,
fiction,
right? But it reads like non-fiction.
Yeah, because it feels very realistic.
I love that. And then,
oh yeah,
I've already just book, we've been speaking about this.
Yeah.
This is called More Perfect by our very own Temi O.
I wasn't sure if the books were meant to be mine or someone else's. So.
Well, I must say, they are usually supposed to be by Black authors. However, I did say that this is a book that you've read and it had an effect on you, for like a positive effect. And I guess maybe informed some of your writing, not in terms of the story, but maybe in terms of like how you tell a story. So I think that it's important that we do acknowledge like that from our writers.
I mean, yeah. But if I had known it was meant, I could have
No. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. But this is the one that we're going to put right at the center for everybody to see on our bookshelf that Brent has been building, and it's starting to look beautiful. So tell us, we did speak about this, but tell us a little bit about this as well.
Yeah, so this is set in a future, like near future London, where you can have a device put into your brain which connects your brain to the internet. and also allows you to record your memories and rewatch them and watch other people's memories and share dreams.
Yeah.
And this is the summer where the government's deciding to have a referendum on should everyone have this device. And the country's kind of split. There's this minority of like neo-Luddites who are a little bit, they're kind of, you may be a bit like Extinction Rebellion, except that like they're kind of like committing acts of terrorism around London against the pulse. And I have two characters who fall in love, and they're on either side of it. Like Orpheus works for a tech company that thinks that once everyone has the pulse, we'll live forever and we'll transcend into like transhuman future. No one will ever die. Like we'll have heaven on earth, basically. We'll all understand each other because we can share our thoughts and we can share consciousness. And she's beginning to be like radicalized into like being really anti the pulse, but she falls in love with Orpheus, and it's their story.
I love that this is the pulse, and we have a book that's
I know it's such an odd coincidence.
So I feel like I'm gonna put this on the reading list for you guys at home to make sure you read it, and I'm sure Brent will love to have this on the bookshelf. So we love that. I think also. Not with a bang. If you could convince anyone to read this for pleasure, how would you convince them?
That's a good question.
One sentence.
I can't do it in one sentence.
Okay, however many sentences you
But
need.
I would say that my sister, who this book is dedicated to,
love that.
was when I gave it to her, she was like, "Oh man."
Wait, sorry, hold on a minute, because you told me earlier that you have like 3 sisters.
I
or
do.
2 sisters.
I have 2 sisters and a brother.
So did you only dedicate it to one sister?
Yeah. She's the sister who's currently looking after my children.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, you have other books, so you can dedicate
I
other
can get
ones.
round to each of them.
Okay, yes, you were saying, sorry.
So like I handed it to her, and she looked really stressed out because she was like, I have not read a book in years. Like I'm gonna have to read this one. And I was like, well, it's coming out on Audible, and she's like, no, I have to read it. It's dedicated to me. I have to read it. And so I kept seeing her, and she'd like have it in her bag. She was taking her time, but she was like, after a while, she was like, I'm enjoying it. And at the end of it, she was like, it made me think I could read another book.
Ooh, I love that.
And like genuinely, she took some off my shelf and was like, yeah, I'm going to start reading now. So
I love that. Do you know what? That's making me so happy, because even doing this show, I've been having people that have been watching, and they're like, I actually read that book that you recommended. Oh, give me some recommendations. I want to read. And so I'm really enjoying that we are contributing to that campaign of allowing people to fall in love with reading again. So thank you for being a part of that. And then also I was going to say something, I think I've forgotten. Was it about it might come to me later. Miss Turner has said, eek, I'm late, but sci-fi is so me. There's so many people. Oh, that reminds me. There's so many people who are getting into sci-fi. Would you say, not to make this like a race issue, but would you say that like sci-fi has been easily accessible to Black writers as well as Black readers?
I mean, I don't know what you mean by like accessible, as in like to write it or to
I mean both. I feel like as a writer, do you think that like when you were writing, for example, and when you gave examples of some of the like works that you've read, were they Black authors or authors of color, or do you think it's generally being written about from the perspective of maybe like a middle-aged white man?
I definitely say growing up, my feeling about sci-fi was it was white and male. I think that's definitely changing with a lot of genre, that like it's a lot more female and it's getting more diverse. But that's definitely like been like a very recent change in like the time I've been reading and writing in the genre.
I think that's fair. And then as like readers, do you know like your audience? Would you say that your audience, or like the people that engage with your community that you have perhaps online, would you say that that's diverse as well?
I'd say it's quite a mix. It's a definite mix of like genders and like people who talk to me, and race and around the world, thankfully. So that's quite nice. There was like a period in 2020, this is like the brief time I was on Twitter, when people would share like 10 black sci-fi authors you should read or something like that. And the comments were always like, here are some real sci-fi authors. And it would all be like, it would be like from some anonymous Twitter account who with like a bald eagle as like the cover. And then we have like sci-fi writers from like the 80s.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
It's like, no, someone has said here, sci-fi, this Miss Turner, she says sci-fi was always mostly by white authors, and Octavia Butler, one of our sorry, I'm like reading. I'm going to stand up I can read this. Octavia Butler has done a great job in putting marginalized characters into her stories. That's why I am obsessed with her right now. What do you feel about Octavia Butler? There's only one right answer, so by the way, no pressure.
Yeah. I think her life story as well is like really inspirational.
Yeah.
There are so many stories from her life, like the fact that her mum was a cleaner.
Yeah.
And she was writing in the 50s. And I don't know if you've ever heard about how she wrote in her diary, like, I will make the bestseller list, and I will earn enough money to like send other black children to school, and then like that it happened.
Yeah.
It's a real inspiration.
Yeah. And the fact that she died so young, but I feel like the best and the greats tend to die young for whatever reason.
Yeah, it's almost like they have like some kind of energy.
Yeah. And it's like
they burn really bright like stars.
Or it's like they literally have done what they have been sent here to do, and they've achieved it, because even though she has this like small canon of writing, it's like so impactful. And I love that, like, you know, you've said that she was writing in like the 50s, 60s, even 70s, I believe. But then us in 2026 can still discover some of her writing. And I feel like it's such a shame almost that like when you try to like research her, there's not even that many interviews that you can, maybe there's more written interviews, and I was looking more so for like video type of content, but there's not even so much. We only have like her writing, and her writing is enough. Like, it's enough to explore so many different themes and stuff. So I think that that's fantastic. And Miss Turner said that's so inspirational. I remember that she was so inspirational, and I remember what it was that I was going to say, because I also listened to the book, and I think the Audible or the audio version is quite is really good as well. I feel like I can't remember. I was going to research the narrator, because the voice sounded familiar, maybe from something else that I've read, but I couldn't remember. But I was like, oh, like her tone.
Listen to this.
I
really love that narrator. She's actually done all my books, and I feel so
she's
honored.
so good. Because I was listening to
great. And she's good at like different accents as well. Yeah.
And the tone, because I was like, I was reading it, and then I was like, oh, I wonder if I could be a narrator. And then I was like, oh no, because like her cadence is so good. And I think especially for this book, because I feel like you needed to be like calm, because there's so much chaos going on, and you can't be like reading this and like be erratic. And her voice was just so like calming but assertive in a way, and I really enjoyed it for this book. And I was thinking I need to go research like what other books she's done, because I feel like I've definitely heard her voice in something before, but something different. But yes, also, we ask all of our authors, and I asked you earlier, I don't know if you can remember them, we are collating a new black canon of books that are classics that that everyone must read. And so I asked you to include your 3. And do you remember them, what they were?
Yeah. So I suggested Hanif Abdurraqib, who wrote, he's got several collections of poetry, and one of them is called The Crown Ain't Worth Much, which I really loved. I first heard him on this podcast called The Slowdown, and he'd written this poem called How Can Black People Write About Flowers at a Time Like This? Yeah, it's hard to even describe. He's just really lyrical, really beautiful, with this kind of like understanding of like pop culture, but then this like, yeah, it's just really very beautiful poetry. And then also quite lyrical is Ross Gay's Book of Delights, which is like a short book it's a book of essays. He'd gone through a depression, I think, and he was like, I'm going to write down every day something that makes me happy. And they're kind of just sort of like meandering, kind of like personal diary, but like all kind of about noticing things in the world that like can lead to happiness.
Yeah.
And Zone 1 by Colson Whitehead, which is a sci-fi.
Yeah.
And it's set like decades after the zombie apocalypse when the cure's been found. And one of the main characters is part of the cleanup crew that has to go into New York and like clear out old office buildings with like zombies. And it's basically about bringing the world back from collapse. And also written like in like Colson Whitehead's like poetry.
I love that. So we are going to add these 3 books, and I love that there's a mix. So that Ross Gay one, it's like non-fiction,
Yeah, that
right?
one's like non-fiction essays.
Yeah. So we've got a selection here. This is like, we've got sci-fi, we've got poetry, and we've got like a reflective sort of non-fiction musing. So that's great. I'm trying to see. Let me bring this here. There's some comments here, but I can't see because do you know what? While the camera's on me, do you mind just like shoving that plant a little bit to that? Oh no, don't worry. Brent doing what he does and fixing it. Okay, that's great. Temi, I'll narrate your next book. You'll love my cadence too, I promise. Yes, I know. I love your voiceovers on your videos. So I think, and she said both Temis. Oh, I think she was talking to you. I think she was talking to you, and then to make me feel better, she put both Temis. Because I was thinking, my next book, where's my first book? But she's talking to you. I think she would be an excellent narrator. And then Chat with Nacho has said, I'd love to narrate audiobooks. The voice definitely helps with the audio experience. Yes, I think it does. And I feel like I've been saying, like, my favorite way to read books now is to have the audio and the hard copy at the same time. I call it like a hybrid way of reading. I don't know if I can keep doing this though, because it means that I have to like pay for the book twice, like double buy the book. But I really think that it's an if the audio version is good, then it just makes for the most like pleasurable experience when reading. So I think that's fantastic. Do any of you out here watching, do you have any questions for Temi? Let me know. We'll give it a few moments if you have any questions about maybe the writing process, about the genre. I saw somebody in the comments earlier who I know is really into anime, and you mentioned earlier that you like anime too. So do you have any like recommendations, or like what anime things are you watching at the moment, or did you last watch?
Oh, I actually don't watch as much anime anymore.
Oh.
Yeah. I did really enjoy, though I can't remember the name of it now. It was on Netflix. It was the show that like Will Smith's son made.
Oh.
It was an anime. It was like, I felt like it was a show that was made for me, because the protagonist had pink hair and he had a robot butler that like flew and he lived in New York. It was like a mixture of like sci-fi, but it was really whimsical and so silly. He fought demons. And
Demon Slayer.
But then he was also like very fashionable, so he'd like go to a fashion show, fight demons, then like lounge by the pool. He was also very rich, but I don't know what job he had.
I don't know. I've like not watched it.
An insanely whimsical dream world. I don't know. I loved it, but I can't remember it getting great reviews. I think because it was such a particular odd vision,
like niche.
Yeah,
I love that.
I enjoyed it though.
I don't watch any anime, but my son is always watching stuff on like Netflix and like Prime and stuff. So I don't know, it's like, because I like K-dramas, which is, so it's not about like the reading and stuff. Do you know what it is? I don't like the cartooniness. Is that a word? Cartoonishness of it all. Because it's quite 2D, I think, like when you're watching them. I don't know, at least like some of the ones that I've seen. So I think it just seems, it's not for me. But I really want to get into it because I feel like, it's such a, I feel like people who are into anime, they have like their little it's not a little, but they have their community, and I feel a bit like left out. Like, oh,
yeah,
these people
I
are
did
cool.
like my teens. I was super into it, and I was lucky to write on an anime Castlevania Nocturnes
Yeah.
anime.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
about vampires.
I love that.
So that was fun. But I think now that I'm older, it's mainly just that like it can be such a high bar to get into it because some shows have like
So many
hundreds and
episodes,
hundreds
yeah.
and hundreds of episodes.
I
like
think
I feel like it
that's
was
it.
the thing I could do like when I was a teenager.
Yeah.
And I could just like devote several months to
Yeah.
like watching all of Bleach or something. But like now,
Yeah,
no.
it's an investment.
Yeah.
Oh, Miss Turner has said, join the anime club, Temi. It's lit over here. I didn't even know that you were into anime. Wow. I don't know. I think, I don't know. Because I think as well, I know myself, like if I, oh my gosh, look, she watched, sorry. I can't even pronounce it.
Yes, we did. Yeah, Castlevania Nocturne. Yeah, there was like African spirituality. There was like a year of our god who gives one of the characters powers.
Okay, maybe I need to watch that. Is that loads of episodes?
No, that one isn't.
Okay.
That's only
Like
it's
10
2 seasons.
Okay.
And they're both 8 episodes.
Oh, so just 16 episodes. Okay, I think I can get into that.
It is a spin-off though of another Castlevania that has more episodes.
But do I need to understand? Do I need to have watched that first one?
But then the very beloved characters do reappear in Oz. So I suppose you don't understand the background of how beloved they are.
Okay, and is it appropriate for Zim to watch? Because maybe we can watch that together.
Very much not.
Oh.
No. There's a lot of swearing and violence.
Oh, no, violence maybe not so bad, but like...
There's a lot of swearing.
Like F words and stuff.
Yeah, but there isn't nudity.
Yeah, I don't know if I mind so much about him watching things with swear words as long as he doesn't use those words at home. But I don't really like to let him watch like graphic things, like especially sexually.
No, there isn't
stuff.
Anything sexual.
Okay, I think we might.
But it is quite graphically violent. It is like heads chopped off. It's vampires. I don't want to put anyone in the audience off it.
I don't know. I might watch a couple of episodes.
I feel like I need to talk you down.
Take me off of
like
that.
showing your teen.
I know, because you know what? I've never watched Dracula. And then I was talking about going to see Dracula because Cynthia Erivo was doing Dracula in the like theatre, and so I was like, oh yeah, like I'll go, like I'll take a Zim, and they were like, no, Dracula is not really for children. But I didn't really know that it's not really for children. I still haven't watched it. Those tickets were hella expensive. I wasn't able to go and see it, but.
This is just reminding me of like the amount of people who come up to me, like especially with More Perfect, which is like a book about marriage kind of, but I get like there'd be like one parent who's like, can my 8-year-old read it? And I'd be like, no. And they'd be like, she's read all the Harry Potter books. And it's like, well, those are children's books.
Yeah. I feel like you write in a wholesome way. Like I think I will let my 13-year-old read Not With a Bang. He's going to be 14 next month. So I think I would let him read it.
Temi.
Yes?
Someone's on the line.
Oh, somebody's calling. My first caller. Hi, who is it?
Hello, hi, can you hear me?
I can hear you, yes.
Hi ladies, hi, my name is Nat. How are you guys?
Hi.
Fine, thank you. Hi, Nad.
Hi. So I just had a question. I was trying to get on the Discord, but it was echoing for some reason. But and apologies, I joined a bit late, so you may have touched on this already.
That's okay.
So just a question just around, I guess, AI and the writing process, right? I know for some writers, like AI is understandably like a touchy subject, but just how has AI maybe not just impacted your work, but just impacting just the writing environment, right? The writing family, because I, for one, I mean, sometimes I use AI like for editing and stuff like that, but there's just something like where you can tell that something's been written by AI. And I guess the question is just kind of like in two parts, just a feeling around AI in terms of some people using it for creative writing, and also is there any room for using AI, like for editing and stuff like that? And is there, I guess, the danger of like scope creep, right? Like you start with like, oh, let me just put it there to just check if, the spelling is right, and then things kind of, I'm not saying that, you do, but just, I guess I'm just talking broadly in terms of just writing and just the impact on creative writing.
Yeah, that's such a big question. Yeah, I definitely know a lot of writers who are like 100% anti-AI, but maybe it's because I'm a sci-fi writer, so I'm not 100% anti it. I definitely do feel like sometimes there are some just like really specific questions it's really helpful to ask. Like in this scenario where like there's no electricity and there's been this massive magnetic pulse, like what kind of cameras would work? And then then you find it, and then obviously you have to double check because it hallucinates, but it definitely like speeds up like some of the very specific questions I might ask. So I do quite like it for that. I feel like it kind of goes without saying, like, if you're feeling like you need AI to write for you, then like, do you want to be a writer? Because it's kind of like, I don't know, like for example, I sewed this dress myself.
No way!
Like sewing is something that really makes me very happy, and I feel I do it because I enjoy it, and I feel like stories are another thing I make because I enjoy. And if I had wanted to, I could have bought the dress, but like it's the process that was like, I was gaining a skill. And that's the thing. And then I created something that I was proud of. And I think it's the same with writing. Pretty often, like, the process of writing is like me working through, I don't know, I discover things, I learn things. And I think it's more just like, instead of, I feel like there are a lot of writers who are really like morally like, you are very bad if you're going to use this. But I'm more like, if you're feeling very tempted to use it to write for you, you need to think about why do you want to write? If you're not getting enough joy from it that you want to outsource it. Because, like, for a lot of the time, I think writing is about a connection with someone else. When I read a book and a character feels a certain way that I felt, say something that I felt ashamed of, and I think, oh, well, someone else in the world felt that way.
Yeah.
Like, someone else has had that experience. And, like, that's a human connection. And even the way we were talking about Octavia Butler, like, we can touch her mind forever through her writing. And that's about personal connection. And so this is why I think that you shouldn't outsource your creative writing to it.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I'm not anti using it to, like, shortcut research if you want to double check.
But there was that story recently, I can't remember the author's name, I don't know if you've heard about it, who I think one of the big bookshops stopped stocking her book because they said it was plagiarized, but it wasn't. What happened was she'd sent her manuscript to an editor, and maybe the editor put it through some kind of AI software to edit it, and then what came out from it, maybe, I don't know, maybe it drew from some kind of whatever, and so the end result came out as something that had been plagiarized. So I think at this moment in time, especially, there might be more advanced kind of like AI software that can write things better, but I think if you're just using the popular ones that we know, like a ChatGPT or whatever, I feel like I don't think it's advanced enough to write something that's not just copying from things that are already out there. So I think that if that's the case, you have to be very careful with that. And also, I believe that I have read some contemporary fiction that has been AI driven, and it shows.
It really sucks having like the bug in your head thinking like, could this be? Could it have been?
Yeah.
And sometimes you'll think it, and then I'll keep reading, and then I can't unsee. I don't know. I don't want to accuse anyone.
I know, and I think as well, if I see that double long dash in a book.
Oh no, so this is so unfair, because I would say I love to use it. I use double dashes liberally.
Yes.
And I keep thinking, like, should I stop using it? But
Please stop using it.
Been a thing, it's been part of my style since I was a young adult, when I discovered it in Lemony Snicket also would use them instead of brackets. Anyway, he was like a foundational writer to me. I'm like should I change my style because the machine has stolen it?
No, I think that you are actually a certified writer, and we know that your writing is genuine.
I will say, if you look at my pre-AI work, it is filled with M dashes.
I'm like...
Even during my master's, I got into an argument with someone about how many M dashes I use. So
Yeah, no, we don't need them. But you're welcome, Nat. Thank you for your question. And thank you for being my first caller. What was it? I was watching Aloni the other day, and she said, what was the term she used? That was it like popped her core virginity or something like that? And Nat, you have popped my caller virginity. It was supposed to be Black Rob, but he ain't here. He was all up in Aloni's live, though, but we'll talk about that later, maybe tomorrow in TDA. I think to preserve the integrity of the creative space, AI should just not be used in that way. Yeah, I think if we're using it like how we would use Google, like, oh, tell me what this is, or how many, I don't know, X's make a Y or whatever, I think, yeah, that's it. But if you actually try to make it write something for you creatively, I don't even think it's capable of doing it.
That's the big thing. I feel like its style is not great. I mean, you know, this isn't like something I want to like rest on, because obviously it gets better, and like GPT-3 is way better than GPT-5. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I think one of the things about writing, especially like say the writers that I suggested for the Blacklisted book, is they have such a like you can see their voice throughout all of their work. And yeah, I mean, AI has like, it's like a vanilla amalgamated voice from like all of the internet.
It's so annoying. And at least if you're going to use it as like maybe like a skeleton, like let it be that, and then you add your own stuff. But to have it tell like a story, it won't even be like consistent. Like it's not great, and I wouldn't recommend it. And I feel like it's better to take a long time to write something, and maybe it takes 5 years or it takes 10 years, and you produce it, and this is like your voice and it's your work, and you know that your sweat and blood has gone into it, than to just have this like mediocre thing that anyone could just do. And I feel like I can't remember who it was that I was talking to, and they were just saying that sometimes, I can't remember where I heard this or who I was saying to it, is that like as an author, they just want to write or whatever. Sometimes, like I asked you about, you know, how it felt to write something like this based on everything that's going on in the world or whatever. And sometimes it's like, it's not about that. You're just writing because you had something to say and you want to write. You're not an expert on this matter. It's just something that was in your imagination and you've brought it out on paper. But I feel like we're losing classics because people aren't wanting to use their own brain cells to think about something and create something that can have like an impact.
I mean, that's one of the biggest worries I would personally have, is that like MIT study that showed it had like brain scans of different people as they were using AI. It was basically finding that, like, obviously because you're offloading some kind of cognitive work, like afterwards the people who wrote it with AI couldn't even remember the essays that they wrote. And
I saw that. I saw an article on that. And even I think I've become like reliant on, like if I want to send an email, I'm just like, oh, this is what I want to say, and then I'll get it to draft it.
I feel like I'm one of the people who thinks that's fine.
No, because I'm becoming...
because emails suck.
No, I think I'm becoming slow. Oh my God, I feel like I'm melting.
I spend so much time like furious about the amount of like writing that sucks that I have to do in my life.
It's true. Like I think if you can use it for like automated things, like yes, but I feel like when I'm struggling to just say like a basic thing and I have to have AI, then I think it's problematic.
I guess. But I remember like when I was like, there's a job I did as like an editor at a magazine, and I'd just get like constant emails that were basically like, why don't we have our magazines in like East India? And I think like, okay, I'm sorry you don't have them. And then I have to add in some sentences to make it sound like you care. I don't know. I just feel like there's just a lot of like admin stuff that's like, and how are you? And this problem's really important to me.
Yeah.
That I feel like if AI does it, I'm not heartbroken.
That's Miss Turner raised a point. She said, back in the day, I used to edit my mum's emails and official letters for her, literally in secondary school. Now I rely so much on chat for that. It's so convenient. Do you know what? I think so too. Like, I remember like being in secondary school and some of my like African aunties and uncles who had decided for whatever reason that they wanted to do a master's or whatever, bringing their assignments to me for me to like literally write the assignment for them. I was in like secondary school at the time, and now I'm like, I would love to do a master's. I would love to do a PhD. And I'm like, no, I don't have the brain cells to be able to do it. And I think that's so sad. But yeah, I've made a promise to myself to like, if I can find AI to do things that are not, I think this is the balance that I'm having. If it's something creative, I'm not going to use AI to do it unless it's something like, sometimes like if I want to do a flyer or do something like graphic design, like I'm never going to be able to like draw or do the thing how I want it to be, I would use it. But if it's like something creative, like writing a poem or do whatever, I'm not going to use AI to do that. If it's to send an email to a manager and I need it to sound less edgy, like I need to take the base out of the email, then yes, I can use AI for stuff like that.
I would say with things like that, because there are sometimes like an email I need to write and I spend half the day just psyching myself up to write it.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
So. Or at least even if you do a quick draft and then you put it through like whatever AI system and say like, oh, is this okay or whatever. But one thing that you must do.
I'm like, is this going to get me cancelled? Like, Temi is fine.
Yeah.
Like, you outsourcing your emails.
Yeah, and make sure you sense check, because sometimes AI be doing some wild stuff. Like, so make sure. I wanted to kind of like maybe round off with, because you've have you got any other things? I know you've just finished writing a book and this book has just come out, but you also do a lot of like writing for other publications and stuff like that. So is there anything else that you want us to keep an eye out for, or that you have coming up, or something that's maybe you've written already that you would like for us to also check out?
Oh, that I've written already. I've written some short films.
Ooh, where can we watch those?
Yeah, one of my short films, Murmur. If you Google it, you can.
Murmur.
Yeah, it's about a girl who slowly grows wings. Yeah,
I love that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! Wait, so you wrote it and then somebody acted it out?
Yeah.
This is so exciting. Okay, Murmur.
Yeah.
MUMMER.
One M.
MUM.
MUR.
Okay. Cool. Murmur. Somebody put that in the chat so that we can all check it out. How short is it?
It's like 19 minutes.
19 minutes. Okay, that's you guys' homework and assignment after today's episode. We are all going to go and watch Murmur. We can even watch it tonight. Or I'll give you over the weekend to watch it, and then we'll discuss it as part of next week's episode, what we loved. Yes, thank you for that, Miss Turner. Yeah, we'll reconvene and talk about it. But thank you so much for being here today. It's been a pleasure. Aww. I knew I was going to have a fun time because Temis are always fun, just if you didn't know. But here is Not With a Bang. Make sure you get it. It's available now everywhere where books are sold. I love saying that. And it's also available as an audio on Audible and on Spotify. So you can also check that out. If sci-fi is your bag, this is a book for you. But also if you like a bit of family drama, if you ever wondered what goes on between four sisters when the world is about to end, this is a book for you to read. Or if you, like me, have had thoughts of building a secret bunker, this is also a book for you, because I think there's some tips. There are some things that I didn't know that I needed in my bunker, but now I do after reading this. So I've been I really enjoyed reading it. And thank you once again. All right. Thank you, guys. I'll see you next week. I don't think we have a guest next week. It may just be me. But thank you so much for coming. Thank you, Nat, for being my first caller. I look forward to hearing from you all next week. Oh, before I go, actually, I did want to say that we have 2 events coming up here at the New Black Studios, and you are all invited. So make sure you grab your tickets. I don't know if Brent is able to pull it up on the screen, but I will say that on the 4th of June, we are launching the paperback of Firstborn of the Sun. We have the author, we have food, we have drinks. It's going to be a good time. Make sure you grab your tickets. There's only a few left. And then on the 16th of June, we are having the launch of Talk of the Party by FOLUSO AGBAGE, which is also happening here. It is truly going to be the talk of the party. Get your ashoebi ready, get your gele's. There is going to be a party here. I don't even think Brent is ready for what we have planned, but make sure you grab your tickets. The link will probably be in the description, or you can find it in the Blacklisted Book Club's bio. You can find them. You can find it in my bio, and you can also find it in the description. So make sure you are here for that. But thank you so much, guys, and I'll see you again next week. Bye.